everybody. James here from Channel Magneto. I'm here with
Chris.
And we are going to review
Captain America.
So we're going to look at a couple different things here today. Plot points for one, characters, and most importantly, special effects.
Yes.
All right.
Oh, and truthfulness to the source material.
Good point. Okay, so first things first, plot points. What'd you think about the plot of the movie?
It's really good. The plot is good. Don't expect your usual evil mastermind with the Red Skull. He isn't setting traps and kidnapping girlfriends in that usual worn-out hokey bit. This plays out as a war film. You know, we go here, we blow this up, we defeat them in battle, we move on to the next point. So don't expect all the booby traps and the Grandmaster schemes, like to trap Captain America.
That's a good point. And with touch and base on the World War II stuff, how it starts off like a war film. We've got Steve Rogers, 90-pound weakling, literally weighs 90 pounds. And this kind of touches base on the effects too, but not too much. The way that they made Chris Evans, being like 6'2", I think, and probably like 240,
definitely
fairly muscular guy, into this 90-pound kid. You know, I mean, that you really identify with the character. And spoilers. He gets beat down in the alley, which I guess is not a spoiler. It's on all the trailers.
Yeah.
And his big line, his big tag is, you know, I can do this all day. And he says it a couple times in the movie.
He does.
He even says it to Red Skull at one point. Yeah, which is kind of neat. And the whole, you know, I'm just a kid from Brooklyn, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, there are good one-liners, but it's not over the top. I really was worried with Chris Evans doing this that it was going to be like the Human Torch. And he already in the posters and the stills looked like a motocross driver with the costume, but it doesn't look that way. It doesn't look that way in the film. It looks much better on film than it does in stills. It looks like canvas and like World War II materials. The final costume. He starts out, like as Jim said, though, as a little guy, the underdog, and that works into the whole thing because they stay. The kind of a theme is that if you abuse power, it's going to come back to haunt you. That the people that are bullies, that have power and take it for granted, that will ultimately destroy them. The people that value the abilities they have and don't take them for granted and use them for others, which is kind of a common thread throughout movies, but it kind of has a little bit in common with, I would say, The Lord of the Rings. The little guy.
Yeah.
Because Cap is a little guy to begin with, and he still has that mentality when he's Captain America, a man who can bend steel bars with his bare hands.
Yeah, you're right. And it touches base, too, with Uncle Ben. Not that Uncle Ben. The cool Uncle Ben. You know, not the rice guy. You know, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
And, again, another Marvel franchise, so you know what Stan Lee was thinking. And he is in the movie, by the way. Just very short, little, like, 5-second clip, maybe, of him in it.
If that, yeah.
Yeah, and his big one-liner is, I thought he was taller. You know, so even Stan's going back and making the short person joke, the little guy joke. And like you said, I mean, that whole thing, it runs through so many movies. Like you said, Lord of the Rings. If you look at Clash of the Titans, Perseus is just like a fisherman.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he works on this boat with his family. His family's destroyed because if you follow the new one, the locals knock the statue of Zeus down and destroy the boat, so he blames the gods for what happened to his family, and on and on and on. But it's another testament of the little guy fighting back no matter what, even when he finds out he's a god. But getting off track on that one. Characters in Captain America.
Oh, great rogues gallery, really. I thought Dr. What was the name they gave him in this one? It wasn't Reinstein.
No, it was. I think it was just Ryan.
Yeah, or it was. He had a German accent.
Yeah, it was a very German name. He's played by Stanley Tucci, that did an amazing job.
Yeah.
I've been a fan of his for a long time, and he really did great in this.
It kind of parallels Iron Man.
Yeah, it really does.
The doctor in the cave in Afghanistan, the first Iron Man with Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, he has the same philosophies almost. It's you know, don't take this to heart, don't take it to head. You know, I mean, don't overanalyze everything. Go with what you feel and follow your heart, and you're going to be fine. You know, and he tries to convey that to Steve Rogers, and it comes through big time. It really does. And I mean, they even
Peggy Carter, Sharon Carter's mother, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Is she quotes the doctor at one point and tells Steve to use your heart or something to that effect. And it was kind of powerful, and it was sad to, spoilers again, it was sad to see the Doctor go the way that he did. I mean, if you've read the comics, or if you've seen the 1990 movie, or you've seen the Reb Brown movies from back in the 70s, you know what's going to happen. And anyway, more of the characters, though. You got Bucky.
Yeah.
Bucky was pretty cool. They could have done a little bit better with him, though, I think, anyway. And they kind of took a lot of liberties with it, but Disney owns Marvel now, basically, so
right.
They had to make it more family-friendly, I guess.
Yeah. But, he didn't turn out to be a cartoon sidekick. I was afraid when I heard he was going to be in the film that it was going to be like Robin.
Yeah, Chris O'Donnell Robin.
Yeah.
Not the cool Robin. Burt Ward was awesome. Burt Ward was the bomb.
Except for the undies.
Yeah, that whole thing was kind of freaky. Grown man, billionaire with man-child and underwear running around.
None of those here. This is a man. But you got Bucky.
Got Bucky. My personal favorite. I was so glad to see this guy come into the movie. Dum Dum Dugan, played by Neil McDonough. Yeah, the giant handlebar mustache, and the fact that his derby hat has his sergeant stripes on the front of it was so cool. And Neil McDonough, he was in Band of Brothers.
Yep.
Timeline, he was one of the scientists, or one of the mercenaries in the movie Timeline.
First Contact.
Yeah, and you'll know him when you see him. He's a guy that's in every movie that's got like the really bright blonde hair and blue eyes. You can't miss him. Just nobody knows his name.
He's just a really cool supporting character.
He really is, and this role was well done. He was in The Escapist. There you go. Go watch that movie. It's worth it. It looks like crap, but it's a good movie. The other side characters of the Howling Commandos, I can't recall their names. They don't even name any of them except Dugan and Bucky.
Well, isn't the African American guy? He reminded me of Roadblock from G.I. Joe, but
I thought he was going to end up being Nick Fury, but then Fury tells him you've been asleep for almost 70 years. Then this guy would be 130.
Well, is that the guy that eventually became the African American Captain America?
U.S. Agent. Wasn't it U.S. Agent?
Because he dies at the beginning of the Civil War timeline. Story. Remember, his son is. What is his son? Is it Patriot?
His son became the Patriot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, that could.
Or his grandson.
Be it.
His grandson.
Was it his grandson?
I think it's his grandson.
I'll have to read those again to find out. That could be it, though. That could be him.
But
that's pretty interesting. I still can't recall his name, though.
Stark is in it. Tony Stark's father, Howard.
Howard Stark.
Stark is in it, and there's a Stark exposition.
Yeah, it touches base from Iron Man 2 with the Stark Expo, when they talk about the first Stark Expo back in 1940, whatever. They actually show the first Stark Expo towards the very beginning of the movie, where Steve and Bucky, before Bucky goes off to fight Nazis and punch Hitler in the jaw, they're at the Stark Expo, and he was probably the best supporting character out of the entire movie. Him and Peggy. Peggy was awesome.
Yeah.
But Howard Stark was just fantastic. I don't know who played him. I don't know the guy's name. We just got back from watching the movie. And
we still smell of popcorn.
Indeed. And people in the back 2 rows behind us would not shut up. It's rude. Don't talk in the theater. Anyway, Howard Stark was awesome.
Yeah.
And really a brash, ballsy character, but not too celluloid, not too phony.
But he didn't take himself real seriously. No,
he didn't. He was always trading little quips with Cap back and forth. He finds a vibranium shield, and well, what's this? And it's vibranium. It's the rarest metal in the world. Can I have it? No, you can't have it. That's all we've got. And then 5 seconds later, he's like, whatever you want, just take it, kid.
Yeah, and he has some quips about him with women too, and fondue.
Fondue, yeah. Oh yeah. Do you fondue?
Do you fondue?
I fondue.
Do the fondue. It was. Well, then you got Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee Jones. Oh man, that guy. He can't make a bad movie. He can't play a bad character. Even in The Hunted with Benicio del Toro. Terrible movie. Tommy Lee saved it.
Except for Batman Forever.
I still liked him as Two-Face, I'll admit it. And I hated that movie. He was the only thing I liked about it. The whole purple side face was great. But yeah, he was like the tough as nails, hardened, commanding officer. I'm not going to take no off nobody. And he's also the comic relief. Like, what did he tell him?
I ain't gonna kiss you.
Yeah, Peggy kisses Steve as he's getting ready to jump on to Red Skull's plane. And he pauses for a second, looks around, and Tommy Lee just looks him dead in the eye and goes, I ain't kissing you. And the whole place went out. Everybody was laughing over that. It was great.
Yeah, Tommy Lee Jones is driving the car from the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Red Skull has one of those.
Yeah, the 6-wheeled Mercedes-Benz with the Hydra hood ornament on it that goes, Mach 5.
Yeah. I don't know why you just didn't fly that to New York.
Yeah, he really could have. It probably had wings.
I bet it did.
It had lasers and, sharks with freaking laser beams.
Were you reminded of Star Wars? There's actually an air combat scene. Did that remind you of Star Wars at all?
It
like
did. It reminded me
gunships?
of like a TIE fighter fight when Han and Luke are in their little bubbles and they're fighting off the TIE fighters.
Yeah.
That and now that you mention that, the motorcycle chase.
Yes.
Probably the best use of motorcycles I've seen since Return of the Jedi. It was fantastic. How did they take them out? I mean, it was like, the first one was a rope.
Yeah.
It was like he shot these 2 ropes off to the sides. They hit these trees.
It was on loan from 007, his motorcycle.
It takes these guys out. Like the first 4 guys all duck underneath it. The last 2 hapless henchmen in the back get caught right in the neck, taken off the bikes. The bikes crash. Explosion. The second 2, how did they go down? I forget.
Wasn't that the hand grenades?
No,
the flamethrowers.
He caught, yeah, the flamethrowers. He blew them up with a flamethrower. That's right, out of his exhaust pipe.
Yeah.
Dual exhaust on this Harley.
It was fast.
Which was cool. And then the last 2 guys was the hand grenade bit.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Cap sees what they're doing. He looks over, and it's just like in Star Wars. Luke looks over and sees the 2 scout troopers on the scout bikes, the scout speeders, flying between the trees. So he backtracks a bit, like slows down enough to let them come out of this clearing in front of him, rides in between the 2, pulls a pin off one of the potato masher grenades that's hanging off the side of the bike's saddlebags, just drops the pin, and speeds up between the 2 of them to get away from him, and they both look at each other almost as if to say, oh my god, we're going to die. And then they do. It's a horrible, fiery death.
Oh, the shield. Yeah, he's got it behind him, which it kind of explains now why he wears it behind him. Because bullets are bouncing off. But then he really ramps it up. There's a tank. He had guns on there, too.
He did. He had 2 machine guns on the front.
Or like missile launchers or something?
Missile launchers, I think he had machine guns, so like 2 turrets on the
yeah,
front.
but he never really used them except to blow up this tank. And then it's got like this this buttress and this fortification like you'd see on D-Day to go to the final battle at the Red Skull's lair. And he ramps it up the bike, up in the air, comes down, jumps off of midair with his shield in front of him. It just starts taking people out, punching guys 60 feet, throwing the shield around. Really doesn't use his gun at all. I was worried that he was going to be shooting everybody, but he doesn't. Really good shield action in this. Like, you flinch when the shield flies at you. And it looks very realistic. It doesn't look CG-ish or anything like that.
Yeah, and the 3D really made it pop. This is one movie that I'll say the 3D was amazing.
Yeah.
It's worth the extra few dollars to go watch it in 3D.
And it's the real 3D. It's not IMAX 3D.
Yeah.
It's the real 3D, which a lot of people knock sometimes, but it really... you don't see the issues or the headaches or the jitteriness that you saw like with Transformers 3 or GL.
Yeah, you got sick after Transformers.
I did.
You got really queasy.
Yeah, and it wasn't because of the movie, even though people are dogging it. I like Transformers 3.
I did too. It was a great movie, and I'll stand behind that.
Yeah. Much better than the second one. And
a poke in the eye with a sharp stick is better than the second Transformers movie.
And less painful.
Yeah, it is.
But it was really on par with the first one, I think. But I guess people are turning off this review now that we said that.
Probably.
Yeah.
Just keep watching.
The haters.
There's more. Yeah. No, and the 3D thing too. Like you said, there was no after effect with it. I normally have a terrible headache after watching these movies. I'm like down in the Aleve on the way home. This one, no headache. Green Lantern was another one. No headache with the 3D. A lot of people hated that movie with a passion. I've even talked to people that said they wanted to see Jon Stewart as the Green Lantern because they figured it was time for an African American superhero. And that's fine. I think it still would have been great. That would have been really cool to see Jon Stewart coming in and being the main Green Lantern. And not just like a little side cameo way off in the background before he's even become a Lantern. You know. But that's getting off topic. The 3D in this was phenomenal. Definitely worth it. If you're going to watch it in 3D. Don't watch it in 2D. Or watch it in 2D after you watch it in 3D and try to compare the differences.
And can I make a request, even though no one's going to watch this? Can the company start releasing real 3D movies on DVD? It can't be that hard to make the staggered image that way on a DVD.
That's true. And do it to where you don't have to buy the $5,000 Plasma HD 3D TV.
You can do it.
That is the stupidest crap. Because I know for a fact, I watched Coraline, of all movies, about 7 or 8 months ago. And it was supposed to be in 3D. And the same with Alice in Wonderland. I spent the extra money. I bought the DVD in 3D. You can't watch it in 3D. You get a terrible headache. The glasses don't work.
The red and greens?
Yeah, they don't work. And then you feel like you're looking through cellophane the whole movie.
It's awful.
It's just not worth it.
So just save your 3D glasses from the movies instead of recycling them.
We've touched on story, plot, and there's really no plot holes either.
Yeah, there
really. There's a few small ones, but there's no major ones that you can't drive a truck through them.
Well, and the thing I like, the spirit of the film, it takes itself seriously. It's still a comic book movie, but it doesn't cartoon. It doesn't make World War II into a cartoon. It does not do that. He takes himself seriously, but it still has this little bit of a buccaneering type of fun.
Yeah, the
aspect.
swashbuckling, hanging from the rope, and all this stuff.
And like the mission where Stark flies in behind enemy lines.
Yeah, that was really cool.
So it isn't Saving Private Ryan, and it isn't God no Sky Captain: The World of Tomorrow. It's in between the two, exactly where it should be.
Yeah, it's a comic book movie set in the real world with real world consequences, but you still know it's a comic book movie.
And it is a film, and this is my pet peeve with period films.
Mm-hmm.
World War II, they use World War II lingo, Dame, etc. They don't, they don't say this rocks like some movies are awful for doing. It is time period specific music and dialogue, and kind of the attitudes. There's an innocence about it in Peggy, in Stark even. And in Captain America, it was that younger, generation. I mean, time-wise, they're older than us, most of these people. But at a point where they hadn't seen nuclear weapons. They hadn't seen, they didn't know most people about the Holocaust. It was a younger, more innocent time.
Sure.
To an extent. I mean, obviously you had Hitler, so.
Yeah, that dude's just a douche.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But
he is.
He is.
He had to ruin that mustache for everybody. I've tried it. I actually shaved my mustache like that one day. It's not a bad look. But one guy had to screw it up for everybody else.
Well, Higgins pulled it off.
Yeah, but he's Higgins.
He kind of looks like Hitler.
Higgins can get away with it. He's Higgins. He's the manservant. That dude, he can do anything. He's like MacGyver on steroids. Higgins is awesome. We talking bad about Higgins.
Higgy baby.
We love special effects. One of the things about the special effects too, like you said about the Red Skull, looked like Red Skull. He didn't look like I'm a guy in a plastic mask. I mean, you can tell it's a latex application and everything, but the way they did it, it's gritty. I mean, it looks like you could feel the muscle fiber on this thing.
In the goo.
Yeah.
Always with the goo.
It's juicy. And I feel bad for Hugo Weaving because he had to wear that damn thing the whole movie. That had to be rough.
Well, you don't see him because they do a great job too of keeping you in suspense because you see him lit from behind and talking. You can't see like what's he look like. Come on. And there's a portrait being painted. You just see all these red colors. So they do a good job of keeping the suspense.
Yeah, and I actually thought that's when they were going to show like a little snap as to what he's going to look like. Like a little stinger. And he's like, he asked the scientist, "What do you think of the portrait?" Turns the lights on, so you know that he can see this guy's face. Mm-hmm. He looks at the portrait, tells him it's a beautiful work of art, and then it goes to black. You don't even get to see the painting. You don't see his face until the scene from the trailer, where everybody knows this scene by now. It's him peeling the white face off.
Yeah.
That's when they reveal what his face looks like to everybody else, and it's creepy. And like, he's constantly like adjusting. You can see seams behind his ears where he's constantly like pushing it back. Right before he does the reveal, Cap punches him in the face, and like this eye's hanging way down like this off of it. Just really gross looking. And got the whitest teeth I've ever seen on any person on the planet. Just amazing. Hugo Weaving, 2 thumbs up, man. You did a good job. Definitely. Chris Evans, phenomenal job. Tommy Lee, yeah, you're getting thumbs and toes, man. That was sweet. Whatever your name is that played Peggy, I can't think of her name.
She was a classy lady.
But I will be on IMDb looking her up pretty soon because she was very good actress. And very pretty. And not the typical, like, oh, she was hot. No, it's just that you see all the chicks in the movies nowadays. Megan Fox.
They're all half naked.
Yeah, Katie Holmes. All these women that are walking around, and they look like hoochie mamas, basically. And every guy on the planet watching this video is just going, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, exactly. It's okay.
It's fine. I happen to think her and, like, Scarlett Johansson, I think she's very pretty. If she's just very pretty.
And classy.
Yeah, very classy. And no bones about it, she will knock somebody on their... And she does.
She does.
She actually clocks a guy. Like, her big reveal in the movie, she knocks a guy on his ass. So, watch it. It's worth it. Just for that scene alone, and Captain America punching Hitler like 12 times in a row.
Yeah.
Even though it's not real Hitler, it was still funny.
It was Higgins Hitler.
It was Higgins Hitler. It was Higgler.
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 Oh! The other thing about this whole thing is it tells you... Another message of the film is that it says nothing's going to be handed to you. Even Captain America, after all this, they don't want him to be in the army for some unforeseen reason.
Yeah, yeah.
He has to work for it. He ends up selling war bonds.
Yeah, he starts out as a USO performer.
Yeah, he's a chimpanzee. And they work in him drawing, which was a part of it.
They do, and Steve Rogers was an artist. In the comics, he suffered from polio of the right leg, so he became like this whiny little, I'm a wimpy artist kind of guy. You know, kind of like Tim Burton. I'm sorry, don't destroy me in your next movie, man. You're going to make some fat guy on a couch with a Nintendo cap and blow him up. I can see it now.
I'm sure he's watching.
Yeah, I'm sure he just sits around and watches YouTube all day to see my videos.
Joe Magneto!
The Stinger.
Oh, yes.
Man.
So we even tell them? Should we let them...
No. Go watch the movie and find out.
Yeah, we've already said too much.
And don't cheap out. Don't cheat. Don't go on IMDb.com. Don't go to, you know, what's the trailers one? Trailertracks.com.
Go watch it.
Go
You're going
watch
to ruin
the
it. It's a movie that takes things in a very serious way, a realistic way. It's still a fun way. It's
Absolutely.
not heavy. But if you watch this review and get all the spoilers, it might not be as fun. And we've told you this at the end of it.
Yeah, and there are spoilers galore. We've said it like 6 times, and if you've gotten to this point watching the video, too bad. You should have listened and turned it off.
But there's one thing too that I thought was kind of interesting.
What's that?
Was the fact that he's sitting and they kind of expounded and expanded on the serum what it does. It doesn't just magnify your strength.
Oh yeah.
Dr. Sex from the City, Sex in the City.
Dr. Tucci.
Dr. Tucci. He says that it also increases your capacities and your leanings, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
Spiritually and mentally.
Essentially, what's inside is amplified.
Yeah. Good becomes great. So if you're a good person, you become a great person. If you're bad, you go to worse. And that's definitely what happens with these two.
Most definitely. Most definitely. And they're exact polar opposites. That's an oxymoron, but it works. You've got Red Skull. Everything that is evil and just bad. I mean, he's worse than Hitler, dude. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, he doesn't like. He thinks Hitler is a little too vanilla.
Yeah, he's like der Führer. He's like der Führer is der Wuss. You know, this guy is really just bad. Then you got Captain America, wholesome, nice guy. You know,
humble.
And they ask him why he wants to go to war. And you know, why do you want to go to war? Do you want to kill Germans? He said, I don't want to kill anybody. I hate bullies, no matter where they're from.
Yeah.
Bingo. That dude, he's the hero. And I'm calling it 4 out of 5. I think that's what I'm calling it. And that's just my opinion. And it's my goofy internet review opinion. And it doesn't matter. Go watch it for yourself and find out.
I really like the film. The only thing, I have a couple questions. And one thing is, I kind of I'm kind of disappointed that they're going to rush it into the modern era with the Avengers, because it's World War II.
Yeah.
Look how many films have been made. They could have made 2 or 3 of these before they brought him to the modern era.
That's true.
Which I would have liked to see. The other thing is, I had 2 questions, and one is, why did the Hydra agents, their rifles, why did they sound like Iron Man's?
They did.
Repulsors.
Yeah, they did. They sounded like Iron Man's repulsors, his bolt blasters from his hands. You know.
Do you think they were just sampling the sounds?
I think it might have been like a little nod, because you got Howard Stark, and even though he's like a supporting character, he seems a little shifty at times.
Yeah.
Just slightly on the shifty side, but I don't think there's anything to come of it. I think he's a legitimate good guy character. He's not like for sale to the highest bidder. He wants to protect America. But I think it was like a little nod to the 2 Iron Man movies, because out of all the movies that are going to be encompassed in the Avengers movie, that's the only one that has 2.
Yeah.
You got Thor, Iron Man 2, the Hulk, and that's going to be for another video, trust me, don't get me started on that, because I am mad. Hulk smash. And then you've got Cap. And they're incorporating Black Widow as well, and Hawkeye, and if you've seen Thor, I'm hoping people have seen Thor by the time you're watching this video.
I haven't.
He lives under a rock.
I didn't even know you could save money with Geico.
You can.
You can.
Yeah. Yeah. Freecreditreport.com too.
Oh, God. Another question I had is, I haven't seen Thor, so I don't know what the heck happened to Red Skull at the end. Was he going to Asgard? What was going on with that?
Okay, having seen Thor, I think so. It opens up the sky, and it's the same, like, laser light technology they used in Thor when they transport from Asgard to Earth and Earth back to Asgard. And it happens a couple times in the movie. It's that same, like, rainbow-colored pulsing light pole, stripper pole of the universe thing, and they're gone, they're there, they're where they need to be. And it ties into that cosmic key, or the cosmic cube.
The Allspark.
Megatron's Allspark.
Yeah.
It ties into that because that was what the Destroyer was guarding in Thor. And Loki came up with some harebrained scheme to try to steal it because he wanted to be all-powerful and all this stuff. More powerful than Odin. And it's a convoluted mess when you really get into it. But I'm thinking that's where he ended up going, because from the clips I've seen at the end of Thor and at the end of this one, I'm not going to give it away, but there's certain villains that are coming back. So you're going to have to watch the movie and find out.
Avengers looks really sweet, though.
It does. It does. Go watch Captain America, if nothing else, to see the Avengers trailer.
Yeah.
That is worth the price of admission. And seriously, people, we know the economy's bad right now. It's terrible. What did it cost to go see the movie? $8. $7 to get in and $1. Sneak a soda in your pocket. Okay? Seriously.
Stick it to the man.
Yeah. Fight the power.
Yeah.
You're paying for cheap plastic 3D glasses. They're cheap. They're plastic. Look at this. You're paying like an extra $3 for the movie to see that. They're junk. A kid with macaroni art can make something that looks better than this. Alright, so sneak in a soda, sneak in a bag of M&Ms. Whoa.
It's like I can see you in 3D. These do not work with regular TVs. I've tried.
No, they don't. My Bloody Valentine 3D. Can't watch it with these. You gotta use the red and blue one.
Make real 3D DVDs.
Please.
Come on.
Seriously. Just stop shafting us. And you know what? As bad as they're giving it to us moviegoers, we need to give it back to them. Sneak in your food.
Yeah.
Don't buy the $5 popcorn and the $6 soda that's 93% ice. And that's a mathematical fact.
It is.
93% ice. Don't ask how I know.
Bring pork steaks.
Bring pork rinds.
Yeah.
Bring a friend. Captain America. See it with your buddy.